In a bombshell moment that has shaken British political foundations, a heated debate has erupted over the UK's commitment to the European Convention on Human Rights. A stark divide between Prime Minister Keir Starmer and influential voices on whether Britain should finally walk away from the ECHR altogether, a move that would send shockwaves across Europe. For decades, the UK has staunchly upheld its ties to the ECHR as a cornerstone of human rights and democratic values, but as rising tensions emerge, a blistering argument surfaces, fueled by a controversial warning from former Conservative leader Lord Michael Howard. And his words? They're nothing short of incendiary. In a fiery GB News interview, Lord Howard's message was unmistakable. Britain must not rule out withdrawing from the ECHR if things don't change, citing the excessive power he claims European human rights laws have handed over to UK courts. Howard's argument is simple, yet explosive. UK judges are, in his view, overstepping their boundaries, shackled by a system that favours the Strasbourg court's interpretations rather than the will of the British Parliament. This scandal has stirred intense reactions from politicians, legal experts, and the public alike. And just when it seemed Starmer had managed to dodge this political inferno, Lord Howard's remarks have reignited a debate he hoped would stay buried. But there's more. Starmer's loyalty to the ECHR is now on trial, with critics accusing him of putting European allegiance above British sovereignty. Stay tuned as we unravel the deepening layers of this scandalous saga. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because you won't want to miss where this story goes next. The seeds of this scandal were sown in the highest echelons of British politics, as Starmer and Lord Howard now find themselves on opposite sides of a raging battle over the future of the UK's human rights framework. For Howard, the alarm bells are ringing. European law, he insists, has allowed judges to become a self-appointed oligarchy, wielding a power that doesn't reflect the values or needs of the British people. But it's not just rhetoric. The former Conservative leader claims this legal quagmire has had real consequences, steering decisions in British courts toward values that may not align with the UK's interests. This position has already ignited an uproar in Parliament and beyond. The pivotal issue here is that Lord Howard isn't advocating a clean break from the ECHR right away. Instead, he views the Convention's grip on British judicial decisions as a last resort. However, his approach cuts deep, suggesting the Human Rights Act itself might be the problem. According to him, it isn't just a flawed law. It's a Pandora's box that has unleashed a slew of judicial overreach, dragging British judges into battles they never signed up for. Lord Howard's critique doesn't stop at the theoretical. He hammers home a damning example, the infamous Rwanda policy debacle. In his interview, Howard minced no words, calling out the UK's Supreme Court for its handling of the Rwanda asylum policy, a controversial plan to relocate migrants. When the government argued that Rwanda was a safe destination, the Supreme Court's response, backed by the ECHR, was to override that judgment. According to Howard, this was a blatant overreach that took the decision away from elected officials and placed it squarely in the hands of a European institution. The judgment, he insists, left the UK government powerless to enforce policies they deemed lawful, putting an unelected judiciary in control of matters that, in his view, rightfully belong to Parliament. What makes this even more scandalous? Only two countries, Greece under military rule and Russia, have ever withdrawn from the ECHR. Lord Howard's position has thus placed the UK at a potential crossroads, where it might have to choose between staying within the bounds of European conventions or joining a group that includes authoritarian regimes. It's a chilling comparison, and one that's being fiercely debated on both sides of the political spectrum. The heart of Lord Howard's argument is his belief that the current structure places the power to interpret these rights not with Parliament, but with judges who follow the Strasbourg court's rulings too slavishly. This critique has sparked a firestorm, especially among those who see the ECHR as an essential part of Britain's commitment to global human rights. However, Howard remains resolute. The judiciary's loyalty to European judgments has gone too far, and it's time for Britain to prioritise its own parliamentary sovereignty. Prime Minister Starmer, however, appears unfazed, at least publicly. He's insisted that the UK will never withdraw from the ECHR, doubling down on his commitment to upholding what he sees as a crucial framework for protecting individual rights. But as pressure mounts, Starmer's stance has come under fire, with critics accusing him of placing Britain's sovereignty at risk by keeping the UK tethered to what they argue is a restrictive European standard. This isn't just a legal debate, it's becoming a matter of British identity, pitting traditional notions of parliamentary supremacy against the realities of a globalised legal system. Meanwhile, the public is divided. For some, the ECHR represents a bulwark against potential abuses, providing an independent check on government power. But for others, Howard's arguments strike a chord, echoing frustrations over European overreach and a loss of national control. The stakes are higher than ever, and the question looms: can Starmer hold the line, or will the weight of this mounting discontent force him to reconsider? This controversy has also cast a new light on the judiciary's role in shaping policy, particularly as it relates to contentious issues like immigration and asylum. For Lord Howard, the courts have overstepped, using strained interpretation to make rulings that undermine Parliament's intent. He argues that the government should have the final say in cases like the Rwanda policy, especially given the complexities and high-stakes nature of national security and immigration control. This view has resonated with a growing number of Britons who feel that European institutions don't fully understand or respect the unique challenges facing the UK. As the scandal unfolds, whispers within Westminster suggest that pressure is building for Starmer to soften his stance. Behind closed doors, some Labour insiders reportedly share Howard's concerns, fearing that the public's frustration could boil over if the UK is seen as compromising its sovereignty to appease a European agenda. However, Starmer's inner circle is adamant. Backing down now would be tantamount to political surrender, betraying the very human rights values they believe underpin a just society. Lord Howard's statements may have been a calculated risk, but they have placed an undeniable strain on the relationship between the judiciary and Parliament. Some MPs are even calling for a review of the Human Rights Act itself, while others worry that withdrawing from the ECHR would send a dangerous message about Britain's commitment to human rights. With voices from across the political spectrum joining the fray, this scandal is far from over, and it remains unclear who will emerge victorious in this battle over Britain's legal soul. In the meantime, Howard's comments have sparked a rallying cry from those who share his perspective, with hashtags like #BritainFirst and #SovereigntyNow trending across social media. Starmer's stance, meanwhile, has attracted supporters from those who view the ECHR as an essential safeguard, casting him as a defender of rights in an increasingly polarised landscape. As this dramatic saga continues, one thing is certain: the fight for the UK's legal future is only just beginning. With each new twist, the nation waits to see whether Keir Starmer can withstand the rising tide of discontent, or whether the allure of reclaiming full control will push him to reconsider Britain's place within the ECHR. And as the clock ticks, Britain's future hangs in the balance, poised on the knife edge between European ideals and a vision of sovereign independence.